Doctor, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Let's talk about what you've been most motivated by in terms of what's coming out of these engagements.
The engagements taking place currently are very important for the development of SADC as a region. And in particular, from my side on high-performance computing and cyber infrastructure, it's for the ministers of the SADC countries, first of all, to realize the importance of cyber infrastructure in incorporating it into their strategy for development. And this being on how we are going to build skills and also how are we going to develop our industries. These are very important issues, and for high-performance computing, one of the key things since the ministers have adopted a framework of high-performance computing as a strategic tool for competitiveness of the region. This year they are more focusing on practical steps. What are the key important things that we will be taking to show that we implement projects in the region? And one of the things is, for an example, looking at our climate change and how do we integrate the plan within SADC. But the other thing is an integrated skills plan. How do we develop people? And also how do we incorporate high-performance computing into the industry? So I think those are very valuable contributions from this meeting.
Right, and just give us a little bit of context around what exactly high-performance computing is and how do we compare to global standards?
The high-performance computing always, I would like to indicate to people to start with your desktop or your laptop. So if you have got your laptop, there's a certain amount of work that you can do. If you've got 2 or 3 laptops linked together, solving the same task, you are likely to do things faster. So high-performance computing is more about your computational capacity and getting the tasks that you are doing to be able to do them much faster. But again, the other thing is more accurately. Since you are on TV, I can tell you that our South African weather services, for an example, you can see with their current computational capacity, when they do the weather predictions, you are more likely now to trust what they tell you because the predictions are more accurate. So it's even with the decision making. When we make decisions, we like decisions that we know that are accurate, that we can depend on them. So that's where high-performance computing comes in. So basically it tells you that it gives you a competitive edge. So that is why we invest in HPCs.
Right. When you talk about these things, something that comes to my mind is cybersecurity. I mean, we are in the age of big data, but when we are dealing with high-performing computers, in what ways do we ensure that we have cybersecurity and the protection of data within those computers?
Fortunately, most of the practice of building high-performance computing is based on the operating system that we call Linux. And Linux, by its nature, it has got this inherent security features as opposed to other operating systems. So, but not to say that they are less vulnerable. We are still vulnerable, and one of the key things that we're working on is to always ensure that the data is secured. As I'm telling you, like in terms of the computing capacity like now, these are the capacity that can do, for an example, 10 to the 18 instructions per second. Lots of computational power. And for that, you produce a lot of data. So it even tells you that the security becomes more prominent in the high-performance computing field.
Right, and then using high-performance computing, what are the key sectors that this prominently would contribute to? I mean, we are talking about the economic development of the continent and key sectors that can drive that growth. Where exactly would high performance computing fit in there?
I think immediately when we touch on that, now more and more people are talking about the fourth industrial revolution. And the fourth industrial revolution, as you can look, taking from the third industrial revolution. Third industrial revolution was more talking about doing things in the computers. But the fourth industrial revolution says we take the data from different elements in our society and we integrate them into the computer. So we're dealing more about a lot of data, which we call it big data. And for that, you need massive computing. And the sectors that benefit from this, for an example, our manufacturing is going to be done differently. We will be looking at different ways of doing the manufacturing. In that way, we'll be able to do products much cheaper, but also much quicker, and we can be able to do high quality products. So manufacturing is one of the areas. Our health systems now, we're talking about the National Health Insurance or the NHI. For that to really work, it means that we need to have data quicker and in all the hospitals. For you to be able to process such amounts of data, high-performance computing plays an important role. You can go into the sector like agriculture, for an example, agro-processing. It's very important for the farmers also to do precision farming, that you understand about the crops and the weather, to collect all this data. Those are the things that will be driving our fourth industrial revolution.